Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. We are going to jump right into the alumni spotlight with one of our alumni, Leslie Fisher. So if she'd be so kind, there's a microphone over there and I think some slides and all that other fun stuff, and we'll let you just right to it. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, John, and thank you all for making just a few moments for me to come and share a little bit about what we've been doing. Thank you so much. On behalf of the work of Lake Forest High School alumni, that I am proud to be a small part of this team. The motor behind this team, just a few of them are there in the back right now. We have nearly 20 LFHS alumni ambassadors who span the classes from 1957 to 2019 and represent the interest of our alumni, communicate with our alumni. We're so proud of them and we thank them so much for their volunteerism. And they're a pleasure to work with. So we are here today to talk about Forever a Scout, because we want our alumni to know that when they leave our halls, we aren't forgetting about them. So, we always want to continue to welcome them home. We do that by honoring the past, celebrating the present, and building the future. The main ways in which we do this, and this is after, this work is almost 2 years in the making. It's flown by, and we do this mainly through connection. We connect through experiences, and there are a lot of social experiences, certainly, that our alumni want to engage in and that they do. So we've got some pictures here. We start in the fall with homecoming, at the homecoming game. We provide tours with the help of Patrick Sasson. He is. We provide tours of the building throughout the year as class reunions are scheduled. We do have one of our ambassadors has hosted for several years a holiday party at Chiefs. And then finally, another one of our ambassadors has hosted an all-family alumni picnic directly after the Lake Forest Day Parade. So we hit just about every time of the year. Another really important way we connect is through service. This came through loud and clear as we talked with many of our alumni, that not only did they want to celebrate and have a great time, but they really wanted to give back together. So we've really worked on this in earnest. This past winter, we served several times at North Chicago Community Partners, and we also assisted with a Beacon Place holiday party and fair. And proud to say, too, that these are two of the organizations that Lake Forest High School supports as well. So it's a really nice marriage in that way. One of our more recent initiatives that we are really excited about, Elena, I know you're really excited about this, is our employment and mentorship opportunities. The idea being, well, we can house a job board on our alumni webpage, which is housed on the high school website, that allows alumni to come, and whether it's people in the area, for instance, the chamber is communicating this out, businesses in the area, nonprofits in the area, who want to hire our alumni, whether it's fresh out of school, of the high school, fresh out of their collegiate experience, or whether it's a return to a different career later in life. We also included, after much feedback, which we're very excited about, and we've gotten great volunteerism on this end, our mentorship opportunities. There are so many in our community who want to mentor our kids. And we do designate, this should be up on our webpage any day now, we do designate that many of these mentors are Lake Forest High School alumni. In addition to these two initiatives, or to this initiative, we also are working a lot on honoring our alumni. This, we feel, is a piece that is an important piece. So next year, we are planning to launch and relaunch two different initiatives. One is a Fallen Soldiers Memorial. Dr. Lenart, Melissa, the Legion, and several students, as well as representatives from several of the classes from the 1960s are very passionate about this project and are working together. We're excited about that. And we are also in the throes of designing our return to Wall of Fame honoring. So we're looking forward to doing these things in the upcoming school year. Oh yes, this is important. So we have many ways. One of the more challenging things has been in this world, we hadn't had a real soft database when we started doing this work. We had had much paperwork with mailing addresses and things like that from many, many years before. So a lot of the challenge, but excitement around it, is this opportunity to build. We are doing that through social media. We're doing this through, I mentioned before, our webpage on the LFHS, on the Lake Forest High School website, wherein people can skew this QR code, and I see a few alumni here tonight. If you've not already done so, please skew the QR code, and then we can email out all these great activities and experiences that we're offering. We also have a biannual newsletter, and as I look at this page, I'm reminded there are two people in particular that I certainly could not do this work without. That is Melissa Oakley and Samantha Galati. I kind of feel like I have them on speed dial. So thank you for all of your support as well. We look forward to continuing to grow this program and, again, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and building our future along with all of you. I thank you so much, and if there are any questions you have, perhaps the ambassadors might be able to answer before they leave.
I just have to say that if you have gotten an influx of hits on the Employment and Mentorship Board from the classes of 2018 and 2019, it's because I texted it to everybody who graduated.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love that so much. Thank you.
I have to tell you, so far, our reach hasn't been quite as far as we wanted to on the side wherein people need to populate that. Again, our mentorship, we have many. We're ready to roll that out. This, I anticipate that end of it will be rolled out in earnest, I would say, within the coming weeks. And we're really excited about that. So keep directing people there.
I actually got responses from young adults, who never respond.
They're excited about
amazing.
it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's just so exciting to see this Scout pride that just carries on for life.
Agreed.
I mean, I've known you for a long time, and Elaine and some of the others, and that Scout pride is almost tangible. So I'm going to tell you just a really short, quick story. My son, who's now 25, lives in Nashville, Tennessee, and he was wearing a Scout sweatshirt recently, and he's, in the city, and all of a sudden someone yells out, SCO. And he's, turning, and he goes, UTS, and this person he's never met, who was probably 7 years older, came up to him and said, I was a Scout too, and they exchanged numbers, and just that, it's just really cool to see, and I'm so glad that you are doing what you're doing and just taking off with your Alumni Association and doing all these wonderful things for our kids.
Thank you, Jenny. I feel lucky to be a part of it. There is a real captive audience, as you see, and one of the things that's been most surprising and exciting to me is to see the older generation too. In many ways, it's difficult for them to connect at this point in life, but they connect back to their high school, and it's really important to them.
Leslie, I just wanted to say thank you as the leader, because I share this sentiment with many people of what a privilege it is to be in a community that loves education, and your dedication and passion for this work exemplifies that reality in so many ways. So thank you for everything you do.
Thanks very much, Dr. Montgomery. Thank you all.
So I read these. All right, so we're going to move to the student council report. Fritz and Kelsey, right? All right, so off you go.
Before you guys get started, because I know it's going to be dynamic, I don't know if Leslie or if Ms. Fisher mentioned, this was at the foundation luncheon, and this was all the alum that were present at that foundation luncheon. It was really incredible, an incredible sight to see and how proud they were.
Oh, perfect. So as the year is coming to a close, we are super excited because there have been a lot of super fun activities that we've gotten to participate, which I know one of the most anticipated ones of the whole year is prom. And so this year, prom's on a boat, which is so much fun. So it's in Navy Pier, and we have about 653 students who are planning on attending, which is awesome. And the boat just seems super cool from what Mrs. Crouch has told us. So everyone is super excited. And then recently we've had decision day and senior breakfast, which was such a great experience for all of us, because I know Fritz and I were definitely getting a little sad leaving such a wonderful school, but it was really great to be able to connect with our classmates and to be excited about where we're taking our next steps. So then we also obviously have graduation and senior barbecue coming up, which is really fun. And like senior breakfast and decision day, it's just a really big time, or it's a really important time for us all to remember our time over the past 4 years and like what it means to be a scout. So very fun. And then Junior Student Council did the cereal domino challenge, which was really interesting, and I had never heard about it before, but there was this girl at Sheridan, Naomi White, I think her last name is, and she did this cereal domino challenge. So she collected tons of boxes of cereal, and just throughout the school, she knocked it over like a giant domino. So the Junior Student Council thought that would be super fun, and they participated in it last week, actually. And we collected over 200 boxes, which we donated to a food pantry in North Chicago. So that was very fun. It was so funny. Everybody was like crowding around the boxes because it went down the senior stairs, like around the school. It was awesome. But just another really fun activity is we just had the physics boat race, which is also an anticipated event. That's actually my group up there. Lucy Bloom was in the boat, but it was so much fun. And I feel like that's definitely a moment that, as I was sitting in the stairs as a freshman, I just never kind of realized that would soon be me. And then like looking up at everybody else, I was like, oh my gosh, this is now me. And my time is almost up, but very fun. But also we had the NHS induction ceremony, so and cum laude, which was a lot of fun, really interesting to see all the different people that have done service work and have excelled in their academics that have gotten them into a highly selective society. So we've had a lot of really fun events recently. So yeah.
All right, so Principals Advisory Council update. So just a quick overview of some of our accomplishments this year. The big ones, so we were lucky enough to get AP testing prices down, get some more people into that threshold. The transparent booster store advertising. So we started advertising new sales from the booster store. We started throwing them in the announcements, helping them work on their social media. And then we had a lot of meetings. I would say the most important of which were with the athletic department. And there were some people who had some issues and some things to say about the transportation services from East Campus over to West Campus. And we were lucky enough to get some results, and the athletic department threw out a survey. So a pretty productive year for the council. Oh, that's me, actually. Oh yeah. So on top of these things, we've actually learned a lot this year. The first of which is probably with what I would like to call our diversity to productivity ratio. So you might remember at the beginning of the year when I introduced the council, I mentioned that we really tried to focus on creating a group of students that was really diverse. That doesn't just mean grades, but that means students involved in different activities, and we did so. And the interesting thing we learned as we went through the year is that so many different points of views and so many different opinions, it became really, really tough to prioritize the topics that we wanted to get to. And so we really realized that next year and in the future, we want to come closer as a group. And we just had a meeting with the juniors, and this is last week. We handed it down to the council. They've seen the do's and don'ts from this year. They're ready to work, and we realized that coming closer as a group probably means, oh, sorry, I'm going back. They realized that in order to come closer as a group, we might need to add some more meetings. They might want to add their own personal twist on everything, and some different students are going to maybe be brought into the council. So we're really excited to see what they do next year, how they get to work, and how they can improve.
Straight into my, out of order, or do you want to do the, okay,
We're going to.
my report, we can finish.
We're going to pause right here for you. We'll come right back
Okay,
to you.
thank you
And
so much.
You guys don't get to leave, so what we're going to do is read a couple resolutions, all right? So you're going to have to bear with me. I'll get through it. So it's one that names you both, and we've got 2 copies, so you can take one each, all right? So whereas Frederick Fritz Bielski, right? Bielski, sorry, and Kelsey Bumbaco? All right, good. Have faithfully represented all students of Lake Forest Community High School District 115 as student body president and class president, respectively, during the 2023-2024 school year. Whereas Fritz Bielski, I'll get it right, and Kelsey Bumbaco, have thoughtfully and thoroughly updated the Lake Forest Community High School District 115 Board of Education about student activities and priorities each month during the 2023-2024 school year. Whereas Fritz Bielski and Kelsey Bumbaco have demonstrated tireless creativity and resourcefulness through their hands-on planning of student council meetings, the pep rally, homecoming dance, winter formal, food drive, senior class gift, and many other student council activities and events. Whereas Fritz Bielski and Kelsey Bumbaco have, during their 4 years at Lake Forest High School, balanced participation in multiple athletic teams, school clubs, and other organizations while maintaining outstanding academic standings. Whereas Fritz Bielski and Kelsey Bumbaco have consistently brought student voice to the district-wide strategic initiatives. Whereas Fritz Bielski and Kelsey Bumbaco have led the Lake Forest High School student body by example with hard work, humility, resilience, empathy, positivity, camaraderie, and genuine care for others. Where Fritz Bielski and Kelsey Bumbaco contributions to Lake Forest High School life are recognized and greatly appreciated by the District 115 Board of Education and the District 115 school community they have served. Therefore, be it resolved that the Lake Forest High School Community High School District 115 Board of Education expresses for itself, as well as the parents, guardians, students, staff, faculty, and citizens of Lake Forest, Lake Bluff, and Knollwood, its gratitude to Fritz Bielski and Kelsey Bumbaco for their steadfast work as Lake Forest High School student leaders. Be it further resolved that the District 115 Board of Education wishes Fritz Bielski and Kelsey Bumbaco only the best as they begin their college careers next fall at the University of Georgia and Texas Christian University, respectively. Finally, be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution will be entered permanently into the minutes of the Lake Forest Community High School District 115 Board of Education, signed 7th day of May, 2024.
Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for such a great year. Oh, great 4 years.
Great 4 years.
It's kind of sad that I get to say that.
So we'll let you finish your slides, and then we'll come
Awesome.
back we'll just pivot a little bit, but we'll let you do your.
Awesome. Well, I don't have a lot because you've already heard from our Dynamic Alumni Association, our students who went through the celebrations as well as the work of the Principals Advisory Council. So just a couple of updates. You'll be hearing from Dr. Sasson for the College and Career Report. And we have a lot to celebrate at Lake Forest High School. So just in the spirit of time, we have successfully completed our SAT suite in April, and our students have taken their SATs and PSATs, and we're actually starting to see the results of that, and we're very proud of our scouts. We're in the middle of AP testing now, though, so I know we have students with a lot of stress, and so let's keep that in mind as we see our students out and about. The musical had 2 sold-out nights. And don't quote me on this, but sort of quote me because I'm doing it in a board meeting. That's recorded. It's the first time people can remember in history to have sold out musical. Now, maybe somebody from the Alumni Association remembers, 40 years ago, but we're really proud of these students who actually had their first musical online during COVID. But they went through, the show went on, and they did a great job, and many of these seniors saw a sold-out show their senior year, which I think is an incredible way to cap off their experience with Lake Forest High School Theater. We've already talked about anticipating those big activities for our seniors, prom, graduation, honors night. We're actually doing things a little bit different in that we will have honors night where we'll do our scholarships, and then we'll actually have an honors award breakfast for our department awards. So we're splitting it up a little bit, which means we might have some parents and students that will be there in the evening and the next morning, but we're hoping to shorten the time that people are actually sitting through those events. We know it's a special time, but it's a long evening when you do them all together. So we thought it was important to make sure that we thought about the time a little bit more. When Dr. Sasson does his report, I'm sure he's going to be talking about the college and career panels and the work with College and Career Connections. It has been an incredible amount of work in partnership with our APT and many in our community. Under Dr. Sasson's leadership, we've seen so many of the opportunities for speakers to come in. We've had a series of Thursday speaker sessions that have been hosted in classrooms, I think 6 of those with numerous different professions within our community. He'll be talking about those, but it's really been something, it's been a sight to behold as a principal in the work that Dr. Sasson has been leading there. So I'll leave it to him to brag about that. And then finally, I wanted to take just a minute to brag about 2 groups of people. We did our service awards breakfast last week, and our one group, and I give a principal's award. And in the principal's award this year, I gave it to the Principals Advisory Council seniors. This is something that I'm passionate about. The Advisory Council, it's a group of students from all walks of student life, and they come together and they just let me know about student culture, student climate. But what it really became this year was our seniors came together and said, you know what, we love talking about culture and climate, but we want to think about how we can make a difference. We want to think about those areas of Lake Forest High School that we've seen that should be improved. And they came together, they organized meetings, they met, did pre-meetings, post-meetings with different people in the district in order to really affect change. And it was a sight to behold because I was not in a lot of the meetings when they met with the Boosters Club, when they met with Dr. Hermes as well to talk about student fees. And they were really championing the work of the students. And what they've done, and I don't know that they quite realize it, they've really started a movement. Most recently, I met with other activity sponsors who want to see the same level of leadership and advocacy and build that within their own areas of activities. So I think we're going to see a movement around student leadership happening, and it's something really inspired by this group of seniors who came together and said, we like talking about all that stuff, but we really want to have a plan to make a difference this year. So thank you. Fritz is one of the members. Thank you for your leadership on that. Much more to come, I know, over the following years. And then the other person, a professional staff member who won the award, was David Hain. And for anyone who's watching, people in the room, David is a phenom. He's a force to be reckoned with. He is our multi-tiered systems of support director, if you will. He's the lead for that. He works right alongside Ryan Abrams as the administrator, and he has built out our Enriched Studies program. He has built out the SAT tutoring alongside Ryan Abrams, all of our databases. If you want it and you wish it, David Hain can make it come true. So I also honor David Hain, who I'm hoping to bring next year to share some of the phenomenal work that he's been leading with the board as well. So with that, that's my principal's report, but much more to come from Dr. Sasson as well.
Thank you, Dr. Lennart. So a couple little quick things. We're going to do one more resolution, but I'll highlight a few things at the end of the year in our next board meeting in June. But I do want to thank the admin, the teachers, the support staff, all of what's going into finishing the year. It is just, with a child who's a junior at the moment, but just the stories we're hearing from the seniors and the other kids, and just the effort that's being done, the celebration you guys are, and the energy we're seeing is just fantastic. So I'm really excited for the year to finish up well, and I think we're on our way, and I just want a special thank you to all the staff and everybody that's really making that effort happen. And so we'll just, hopefully the locusts will be in low form, but we'll see what happens. But we're expecting a great finish to the year. So I'd like to, at this point then, read a resolution for Dr. Marcus Schabacher, so board member for us that needed to depart. With that news, we did set up a process to find appointees, or applicants for the position. We were able to bring that down to a couple applicants for some interviews. We were able to accomplish that, and then we were able to get consensus from our board to select someone. We'll be releasing that here in the next couple days. Forget exactly when, but it should be coming soon. And then we'll look to hopefully bring that person in June and take care of it at that time. So not much more to say on that, just wanted to give a little bit of insight to that process, was able to get through, and thank all the applicants who applied and were willing to put their name forward and share that. So thank you to those individuals doing that. So for the resolution, for Dr. Marcus Schabacher. Whereas Dr. Marcus Schabacher has faithfully served the students, staff, and families of Lake Forest Community High School District 115 as a board member from 2021 to 2024. Whereas Dr. Schabacher has served as a member of the Education Committee. Whereas Dr. Schabacher has served as a member of the Policy Committee. Whereas Dr. Schabacher exudes passion, drive, and care for the students, teachers, staff, and families of District 115. Whereas Dr. Schabacher was a significant contributor to drafting and developing One Lake Forest High School statement embodying the board's commitment to fostering an inclusive environment for all students and staff. Whereas Dr. Schabacher consistently advocated for an equitable distribution of resources to ensure that all students had the support necessary to reach their full potential. Whereas Dr. Schabacher's desire for comprehensive background information and context regarding financial decisions enhanced the board's ability to make well-informed choices and increase transparency within the community. Whereas Dr. Schabacher's strong critical thinking skills and data-driven approach enriched board deliberations, provided insightful solutions for consideration, thus elevating the quality of decision-making process. Whereas Dr. Schabacher has used his experience as an affiliate associate professor to provide valuable insights to the District 115 board. Whereas Dr. Schabacher has devoted countless hours over the course of several years in service to our Lake Forest school community through his support of Lake Forest High School athletics, cheering on scouts during multiple sporting events. Whereas Dr. Schabacher's dedication to the work of the Lake Forest Community High School District 115 Board of Education is sincerely appreciated. Therefore, be it resolved that the Lake Forest Community High School District 115 Board of Education expresses for itself, as well as for the parents, guardians, students, staff, faculty, and citizens of Lake Forest, Lake Bluff, and Knollwood, its deepest appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Marcus Schabacher for his steadfast work to advance the quality of education, engagement, and inclusion for all students in our community. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution will be entered permanently into the Lake Forest Community High School District 115 Board of Education minutes, signed this day, 7th of May, 2024. I know he's not here, but a small applause. Thank you. We will hand this to him at a future date and time. All right. So we are to, Dr. Montgomery?
Getting ready to talk about with Dr. Hermes the tax levy. It is time for you guys to go home. It's riveting, but have a good night.
Thank you guys so much.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight's report is going to begin, like I previously mentioned, a little bit about your property tax bill, and Dr. Hermes is going to help me with that presentation. Then I have a few topics that we'll move through quickly, from student roundtables, finishing with Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. Beginning with the how to understand your tax bill, and remember that this is a tax bill that is generated annually based on information from the previous year. There are some terms that I'm going to go over briefly at the beginning and then turn it over to Dr. Hermes. So remember that taxing bodies, while we pay, funds go to the Lake County Treasurer, the money is then distributed over many taxing bodies in the area in which you live. And you will notice that the tax rate is different depending on whichever tax body is issuing the taxes. Remember that taxing bodies, including school districts, villages, and county, and many other, determine how much they need to collect in taxes or levy, and that determines how big the so-called pie, so it fluctuates based on how much taxes are being assessed within the area. Property assessments, which you receive later in the year, determine how the pie is divided to ensure property taxes are fairly distributed. The assessed value, and this is always confusing to some people, including me, I have to be reminded, is determined by adding the value of your land and your home, and in some cases, other factors such as farmland. The assessed value may seem low to you. It's not going to be your Zillow price. This is because it's 1/3 of the fair market value of your property. There are also exemptions at play, such as the homestead exemption. There's general homestead, seniors, disabled persons, disabled veterans, returning veterans, and home improvements. All of those can qualify for some exemptions on the tax rate. And then the amount due is broken into 2 payments that are paid across a given calendar year. And always, if you want to learn more, you can, I sound like a infomercial a little bit, but there is lots of ways to learn more. You can go to lakecountytreasurer.info. At this time, I'll turn it over to Jen and have her go over in a little bit more detail about how we break down the tax bill.
All right, thank you, Dr. Montgomery. And this is confusing a little bit because we talk about a lot of years. So you'll hear us talk about the 2023 levy, your 2023 tax bill, which of course is payable in 2024, which funds our 24-25 year. So I know that gets confusing between the years, but this really is, as Matt indicated, predicated on last year, and then is collected this year, and it's for the use of our operations over the next school year as well. As also mentioned, it does vary by community to community. On the previous slide, we had a Lake Bluff example with all of the individual taxing bodies listed in more detail. I've provided here a Lake Forest example, which is just summarized by entity, but you will see to the right, it will vary. So for example, Lake Forest, the overall tax rate for 2023 is 6.253863. Of that, D115 is about 28.6%. So we're almost 1/3 of that total tax bill. 67 is 26.5, and the city of Lake Forest makes up almost 25% as well. Lake Bluff, however, has a much higher tax rate. So they're at 7.286409. Of that tax bill, D115 is 24.58. D65, the elementary district in Lake Bluff, is 39.41, and the village of Lake Bluff is 11.41. Knollwood, not to forget Knollwood, 7047787. 115 is 25.55. D65 is 40.98, and they don't have a village or city tax directly. Now, if you added up those percentages, you would notice I'm a little short. That covers things such as water reclamation that's on there, any township tax, or those other various pieces. So it does vary from community to community as far as our percentage of the total, but our tax rate is the same in all of those communities. Dr. Montgomery covered a few of the factors that influence your bill by covering these terms. We do talk about fair market value. That is not Zillow. That is not the realtor price. But it is, generally speaking, what your home is worth on the market in that given 2023 year. So on average, homes in our community increased 5.19% over prior years' fair market value. So we're seeing housing kind of starting to bounce back a little bit as far as their value. We talk about assessed value, we talk about equalized assessed value. Assessed value is typically a third of your fair market value. Equalized doesn't come up as often, even though we use the term EAV. Equalized assessed value means the state has the ability, through the state equalization rate, to say, we feel that this entire area within a community, within a township, is undervalued or overvalued. So they could add a multiplier onto your county's assessment. So they could say, we think this area is undervalued by 5%, 10%, and they put a factor. That has happened within our community during my tenure here. And it's quite a shock to the individuals because it does redistribute the taxes among all taxpayers. So that's the three terms at the top. We also talk a lot about the tax cap, or that's the PTEL, Property Tax Extension Limitation Law, which sets the rules by which taxing bodies in a tax-capped area can ask for tax funding or their levy, and we are limited to basically 5% or CPI, whichever is the least. So in this case, when CPI was 6.5%, our 2023 levy, we levied at 5%. So it was the lesser of the two. The tax rate is really a formula. So once we have our aggregate ask, we know how much we can collect from the entire taxing body. It's going to be distributed based on individual property wealth, but it's divided by the total EAV. That's how the tax rate is determined. So it's really a byproduct of those other two factors. Dr. Montgomery talked about the exemptions, and then the last one he went really quickly by, but the voter-approved referendum, which obviously is what's impacting our tax bills for this year in particular. So talking quickly about this, you've seen this slide before many times. This is our promise. This is what we put out during our educational campaign. It was $105.7 million over 20 years. You can see the green bars represent the new referendum debt service. We had indicated in that educational materials, we had anticipated $974 as the annual tax increase over the prior year for a home valued at $1 million. That is strictly related to the referendum. So for example, the 5% on our normal operating levy would be in addition to this debt service. If you go to the next slide, you can see that at the time that we sold the bonds, and the board spent a considerable amount of time, I know you probably have PTSD, we spent a lot of time talking about the manner and the frequency or the timing of actually issuing those bonds. So we spent a lot of time last summer. If people want more detail, they can certainly look into last August and September's board meeting. But due to market conditions, we did go out for the entire $105.7 million at that time. So very small numbers, but the short story on this slide is that we came in under with our true all-in interest costs, which means we were able to sell those bonds at a lower cost to the taxpayer. So overall, we saved, I believe it's about $21 million over the life of the bonds based on that interest rate being lower than it originally anticipated. This is the exact numbers. So you see this is very similar to the first slide, but this is keeping and beating. So the actual 20-year duration came in at $870 versus the $974, so 104 years less. And over that 20 years, as I just stated, is that $21 million in interest earning or interest savings. One thing before we leave this slide too, you might wonder what the blue bars are. The blue bars are the prior referendum debt, and you will see those will drop off after 3 years. So we will see that decrease in the next few years. And then finally, just wanted to talk a little bit about The next slide, there you go. Even with our referendum, this question comes up a lot. Are we still low? We are still low. We are the lowest of any of our peer districts, our peer high school districts. Although I haven't seen all of the compiled county data because this information just became available, I believe we still are the lowest in Lake County. So what does that mean? So our tax rate of 1.79 and change on $1 million home would be about $58.25. At Deerfield Highland Park 113, that same value home would cost just over $8,000, so an increase of $2,200. Libertyville 128 would cost you $9,000, so another $3,200 and change. And finally, Stevenson, with their tax rate of 3.2, you would be paying $10,419. So not quite double, but pretty darn close from neighborhood to neighborhood. And finally, as noted, I would really say that just a shout out to the county here. The Lake County website related to taxes and tax collection is really outstanding. I don't know who does their work, but really fine job. They have a video that actually will walk you through the components of your tax bill. The QR code will take you right to their site, but they have a ton of materials, absolute ton of materials. It's really well done. Spoiler alert, if you want to check out, they've got a really great infographic on the tax process, who has each role in the process and what the timing looks like. So check it out for more information specifically. And then finally, a shout out to our internal staff in Mr. Salas and all others that assisted here. But if you visit our website, we do have a tax calculator on there, so you can play with that a little bit, keeping in mind those other factors. What was the value of your home? How did the value of your home increase or decrease in relation to the approximate 5% increase as the community as a whole? Obviously, if your home went up 20% in value, one, congratulations, that's awesome. But two, you are going to get a larger share of the tax pie that we talked about. If your house was flat or it decreased over the value over the prior year, you are going to pay a lesser portion of that overall pie than you did previously. So really that is a big factor in addition to what each of the taxing bodies are asking for each year over the other.
As Dr. Hermes wraps up this section, which I'm most grateful that she took the lead on this, do any board members have any questions for her at this time? Hearing none, I will move on with the report and talk about some a little lighter topics. The first one being, Erin talks a lot about the Principal Advisory Council and the importance of hearing student voice. I wanted to take a moment with seniors and create an opportunity for a student roundtable experience. We are still jockeying dates at this time. It is a very busy time for our seniors, but the idea here is to get students together and ask questions to our outgoing, soon-to-be alumni about their experience and hopefully shed some insight that'll help prepare me for the next school year, and then also the administrative team as we look to continuously evolve and to improve to meet the needs of all students. Just another example of the importance of student voice. I participated in LFHS Reads last year and had a blast, and this year I decided to do it again. I also have another incoming freshman. I promise this is the last one for a few years. There'll be more, don't worry. But this year we are reading Where Sleeping Girls Lie, and both of my daughters helped pick this book out with me off of the New York Times bestseller. It is open to any student or staff 9 through 12, and I'm excited to be reading it. And with them, I think signups finish on Friday, and then we will be reading over the summer and then having a book discussion early next school year. Wellness Walk is on the horizon. It is one of my favorite times where Dr. Lennart and I get a parade around and have a great time with the mindset that overall belonging and mental well-being is an incredible area of importance for all of our students and our faculty. And this was something that was in place well before both Erin and myself, but I will tell you that it is a joyful day, and it reminds us how important our overall well-being is as we are creating young people who are going out into this big, scary world. As important, though, it is to remind our adults of how we are here to support them as they are supporting the students at LFHS or LFHS. The last slide is a shout out to an Educator of the Year nominee, and that is our very own Dr. Jeff McHugh, who will be honored tomorrow night with the other nominees at the dinner that the Regional Office of Education puts on. There's 800 people that will be in attendance, and is at the Lake County Fairgrounds. And I couldn't be prouder of Dr. McHugh to be in the running, and want to thank him for his service. This is not his swan song, so he does not get to celebrate too much. We're just giving him a pat on the back at this point, and telling him great job, and hope he's winning, or hope he is a winner tomorrow. He's always a winner in our mind. This week is Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. In both districts, there are events happening each day with the help of our boosters and APT foundations. We are celebrating our teacher, faculty, and staff, and I just want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for everything they do for the young people we have the pleasure of serving. That concludes my superintendent's report. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, sir. All right, so at this time, the board will hear from any public comment, subject to our board policy. So if there are folks in attendance that wish to participate, I would ask that they are participating on items in our agenda. If you have something else that you would like to say that's not on it, we'll have an opportunity at the very end of the meeting to do so. So if this time, does anybody would like to, for public comment, this would be the time. Okay, seeing none. We are going to move to our first report and discussion, and this is going to be with Dr. Patrick Sasson for post-secondary report. So thank you for coming, and excited to see what you're going to share.
I'll try to do this without my cheaters here. I think I can do it. Oh, let's see. You dropped this off here. Is this it? Cheers. Okay. Good evening, and thank you for giving me some time tonight to highlight the extraordinary work that is being done to best prepare our students for life after Lake Forest High School. This work is being done on several fronts. Counseling seminars designed to give students guidance and opportunities for self-exploration regarding strengths and interests, while giving counselors the opportunity to get to know their students as individuals and as learners. College counseling that is data-informed, student interest-informed, brings families to the table to start planning during junior year. Building our ISB-approved career pathway endorsement programming to give students experiences in real-life endeavors. Building community partnerships in order to establish future partnerships for job shadowing, internships, mentoring, and employment opportunities for our students. Hosting a summer opportunities fair to connect our students with community employers. And expanding programming like dual credit courses that will give our students post-high school educational opportunities and credits, and attain more college and career readiness indicators as established by ISB. In terms of the national landscape of college admissions, this year had its own challenges. A revamped FAFSA form was delayed in its release significantly well into October. And when it was released, there were a lot of issues with it. This delayed student completion, and even now is delaying our students hearing back from FAFSA on what grant awards they may be receiving. This, of course, is forcing some of our students to delay their decisions, and many schools have extended their deadlines because of these delays. Our counselors are working closely with the students that are still awaiting to hear about their FAFSA grants, providing them counsel and direction, and they are ready to go with decisions once they get their grants. In the National Association of College Admissions Counselors' recent 10-year study released this fall, the criteria that matter the most in terms of college acceptance remains largely the same since 2013. Grades matter. The strength of the high school curricula matters. Being involved in a wide array of experiences matters. And Still today, a student's written submission is the most impactful way an applicant can differentiate themselves in a sea of quality applicants. And I'd like to highlight a couple of comments from admissions officers. Every year, counselors stay in close contact with admission officers across the country, reaching out to them when needing extra advice or deadline information, or just kind of general feedback on how things are different this year than they've been in years past. What are they seeing with different applicants? What information can they glean from them that they can share with families that are highly interested in their universities? This relationship is ongoing and iterative, and during the fall, as I was preparing for this report, I asked them just to reach out to some of your connections and ask them kind of, how are things going this year in the admissions process as applications are coming in? And what would you recommend our students know about what college admissions officers are seeing? So we got several really good, some really good feedback from several universities. I highlighted two here, one from a counselor at Notre Dame who said, applicants are less concerned that revealing personal struggles or situations may lead to negative results than in the past. Most compelling applications offer candor, challenges overcome, and life insights. Extracurricular life extends beyond leadership titles. Tied to those deeper dives, we're looking for those who have contributed to making change while in high school through varied pursuits they love, and it need not be a lengthy list, but one of impact. Show how their school communities have benefited by their presence. From Boston College, he said, the test optional thing is something to watch. It would not surprise me if the pendulum swings back to colleges requiring tests. Most of our applicants do not submit testing, but most of our admitted students did. He also added that our business has a terrible grade inflation problem. Everybody gets A's. I tell students, get good grades, but be a good high school student every day. Go to homecoming, paint your face for pep rallies, raise your hand in class, say yes to things, be fun to go to school with. Letters of recommendations that talk about how ubiquitous a student is to be around and the reputation one attains in school is priceless. As mentioned before, post-secondary programming starts in the counseling seminars. As second semester junior year approaches, counselors begin meeting with students to connect their strengths and interests to their future planning. Through their deep understanding of our students and their wealth of knowledge in the college landscape, counselors guide their students and the families through a very delicate process. On the class of 2023's, our last graduating class's exit survey, the following feedback was reported. Over 95% of respondents felt they had adequate contact with their counselor. Over 98% felt they could see their counselor in a timely fashion. In terms of choosing a college, campus setting once again was the most important factor for our students. Respondents reported taking the ACT on average 2.2 times and the SAT on average 1.6 times, and we offer them one of those during the year. 32% of respondents reported submitting their ACT score compared to 19% of respondents submitting their SAT score. The number was higher for students not reporting tests. This is very commensurate with previous year's data. We were pleased that the strategic plan was being drafted to have college and career work to be a part of Goal 1A. It is recognition of the importance of the work and our commitment to see its growth. 1A states LFHS will refine and extend college and career pathways programming, curriculum, and instruction. We currently have 3 career pathway endorsement areas under review by ISBE. The health sciences career pathway through our CNA program at Tech Campus, arts and communication through our new media courses, and our agricultural, food, and natural resources pathway through our AP Environmental Sciences course. We will be expanding our dual credit offerings next year. This year we offer 5 dual credit opportunities, and over 150 students are taking these courses for high school and college credit. Next year we will be adding law and business entrepreneur classes as dual credit options, which will allow us to expand our career pathway endorsements into the law and business career clusters in the future. What's great about the law and business entrepreneurship classes is they're open to all students. Business entrepreneurship largely taken by freshmen, so we're starting to get dual credit offerings now, not just at the higher levels in the junior and seniors. We're now building them into freshman and sophomore and junior offerings. Educational Services has budgeted for the Youth Science Career Aptitude Survey platform. We hope to provide this free of charge to our families to access the platform so students can gain deeper insights into their strengths and the industries that align with them. This information can be critical for our students as they consider avenues post Lake Forest High School. Youth Science is a well-regarded aptitude survey, so rather than an interest survey that asks them kind of what they know and what mom and dad do, which might be informing what they're interested in, it gives them a series of games that they complete, brain games, and they get very specific results of the aptitudes that they have, what fields those aptitudes lie in, what colleges have the best program around those aptitudes, and actually the job market for those industries that align with their aptitudes. Our families would get those licenses for youth science actually for 10 years, so it would be with them well after they left Lake Forest High School. Wednesday, October 16th, will be our regular PSAT and MSQ day for our juniors to take the National Merit Qualifying Test and a practice PSAT. For our freshmen, sophomores, and seniors, this day will look a little bit different than in years past. During our first ever Career Exploration Day, freshmen and sophomores will hear from a keynote speaker in the morning about a variety of inspirational topics. Then they will spend time with their counselor in smaller groups before attending self-selected professional panels aligned to the 17 career clusters. Our juniors will take the test. Seniors will have the opportunity to get assistance completing their college applications or their essays. They may be asked to speak to the lower classes through student panels that we'll be providing, and they'll have an opportunity to complete a service opportunity if they so choose. Another highlight of our work around the career pathways, Dr. Lennart alluded to, was our Career Connections programming. This year we grew in our programming significantly. Our Open Doors Job Shadowing Day, which was in October, we had 24 students who job shadowed for the day at a variety of area community employments, from Portal Innovations to DBW Warehouse, to the School of St. Mary's, to AbbVie, and a few others, and we are grateful for the partnerships with those companies. We had a summer opportunities and internship fair where over 30 community employers came in to meet with our students and sign them up for summer opportunities. Our administration on the Institute Day visited AbbVie for several hours to take not only a tour of their facilities, but also to meet with their outreach coordinators twofold, getting a sense of the dynamic collaborative spaces that we would bring back to our teachers and staff as highlights for possible implementation through the construction coming up, and then really getting a sense from them of connections and partners that we could have either coming to speak to the students at Lake Forest High School or offering internship and job shadowing opportunities for our students at AbbVie. As Steve has said, we hope that this becomes the template for other major companies in the area so we can begin building those partnerships around opportunities for our students. Lastly, this spring, as Dr. Lennart alluded to, we had a series of professional panels where, with outreach through our APT volunteers that I'll mention in a few moments, we had professional panels in the law field, the STEM field, arts and communication field, and the business field. Professionals coming in and taking their time to speak to classes, answer questions ranging from where did you go to college and what did you study, to what are things you look for in first-time interviews with young applicants? How they view hiring for skill as opposed to hiring for character, and really working with those people to be team members. So a lot of the things they said crossed over the different fields. They existed, the needs and the wants existed in all those fields, and so it's an opportunity for us. We Steve Douglas and his team in New Media filmed those. He's produced them post-production. We have really nice now building a library, a catalog of videos that we can share with classes at any time. And we're going to continue to reach out in successive years to different fields so we can build our library and build the connection with people coming into the building. The table, let's see here, slide 5. 302 seniors responded to the exit survey last spring, of which 96% of our students reported plans to attend a 2 or 4 year college. The table on the right is from the NACAC, or National Association of College Admissions Counselors, 10-year study that was released this fall. It surveyed 1,600 schools on the amount of applications they received and their acceptance rates. I think it's a commonly held belief that schools are really highly selective these days. And there are many highly selective schools, but of these 1,600 schools that were part of the survey, the overall average acceptance rate amongst them was 73%. While overall the average acceptance rate was 73%, while only 4% of these schools, right here, had acceptance rates of less than 20%. That said, those 4% of schools receive on average 3 times the amount of applications each year as the other 96%. We can all do the math. The class of 2023 is attending over 130 different colleges and universities. Several students also reported taking a different path, including entering the workforce, entering the military, attending a trade school, or taking a gap year. As our newest alums, we will be sending them a survey in the coming days to get feedback on how well we prepared them, how well prepared they felt for their freshman year, 1 year out, what challenges they may have faced, and how Lake Forest High School can improve our programming to address these challenges. In terms of the most attended, this year for for public schools, for the first time in a long time, the University of Illinois topped the College of Lake County, which for the last several years had been our most attended public school. And our most attended private school, the University of Miami, jumped this year. But as you notice, if you remember years past, typically our top attended public school was in the 25 to 30 student range. These numbers are far lower, which speaks to all of the different options our students are being exposed to and the different avenues they're taking. There's 4,500 colleges and universities in this country, and they're being fairly represented throughout this process. Our next steps, as previously mentioned, we're planning on adding new dual credit courses, and we'll be building out 3 new pathways for the 24-25 school year: pre-law, business law, and accounting. Expanding our network of colleges that will afford our students free dual credit opportunities, and identifying staff that we can offer training to become eligible to teach dual credit courses is a part of that work. Activating embedded work-based learning opportunities in all of our classes at Lake Forest High School gives students the opportunity to gain valuable real-world experience and gain eligibility for our career pathway endorsement planning. The previously mentioned Career Exploration Day next year will give students real-life examples and interactions with professionals in the fields that they might be interested in. As a side, Alex Saratkis, president of Octagon Sports Management and the agent to Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks, will be our keynote speaker next year for the Career Exploration Day. Alex spoke to our Hellenic Club in the fall, and the response was extremely positive. We are grateful to the Lake Forest Foundation for giving us a grant to fund this experience for our students. Job shadow opportunities. We'll continue to build community partnerships through the Chamber of Commerce and area employers, including AbbVie, as mentioned before. A special thanks to the APT for their significant assistance in connecting students to employers during our Open Doors event, their support of our professional panels, and their support of our summer internship and opportunities fair. Specific thanks go to our Career Connections panel, which was from the APT, Tanner Van Dusen and Monica Yon, and our student leaders, Maeve Farrell and Nastia Belova. I mentioned the U-Science platform. as an opportunity for our families to access a platform that gives in-depth information and connects aptitudes, skills, and interests to existing job markets in the area and across the country, and increasing the number of students who meet the criteria for Distinguished College and Career Scholar designations. 42% of last year's senior class met the criteria for Distinguished or College and Career Scholars for that designation. We want that to grow every year, as Dr. Leonard has mentioned in the past. The attendance component will be a challenging criteria to meet. Lastly, I want to thank all of the members of Educational Services who support our students and families every day. The school counselors who provide the guidance, the academic and college counseling, to our Ed Services support staff involved in post-secondary work. I want to thank the Lake Forest High School teachers, over 2,000 letters of recommendation again this year. Mr. Steve Douglas, who is our department chair for Career Pathways and has done unimaginable work making connections, making relationships, working on a vision he has for our career pathways planning, leading the career pathways department in his very first year. We work very closely together. We meet very frequently. He typically has my head spinning when we're finished with the meeting, but I know he knows where we're going, and I know he's willing to put in the work and has the connections in the community to do so successfully. And lastly, again, to the APT and the foundation, for which, without their help and support and volunteer time, we could not do the work that we're doing as well as we're doing. And lastly, to you all for your ongoing support. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
So you weren't busy at all this year, so that's good.
Thank
That was awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you and the team and everybody. It's wonderful.
I want to just have a special thank you for Dr. Sasson. As you hear the work that's being done, it's his leadership that is making this happen. And don't forget, this is a man who, I think if we're describing him, a caring heart would be the thing that we would lead with. And you can see that in his work as a resident, as a former parent of Scouts. He loves this place more than anybody, in my opinion, and I thank him for his leadership every day.
Thanks again. Moving on to the Education Committee report, Dr. Venson.
Thank you. There's a typo in the minutes that presented. David Haynes' name belongs up with Ryan Abrams, and that will be corrected in the presentation for the minutes for the be accepted at the meeting. The brevity of the report can't possibly demonstrate or give you an idea or semblance of an idea how superb the presentations were around these initiatives. President Jenny Zinser, or Vice President Jenny Zinser, commented at the meeting that these are both presentations that should be given to the whole board, and that was supported enthusiastically by the entire committee. Sorry for the extra work, Aaron. But these were just inspiring, at least to me as a board member, presentations, and I think we can all be proud of it. I think going forward, I look forward to the continued growth along these lines. So thank you.
Please.
Have to, because I was blown away at the education meeting about how deeply our staff dives into the individualized success of every single one of our kids. And Ryan Abrams said something that I wrote down and put in quotations next to his name. He said, "We are always continually improving." Always continually improving. I just thought, I was like, you know, we're so blessed to have some of the teachers and administrators, to have all the teachers and administrators that we have, but to hear the work that goes in every day to ensure that there isn't one single student that gets lost in the shuffle, that our teachers have eyes and ears on every one of them, and they are reaching out and pulling these kids in and saying, I know I can help you. I know I can help make a difference in your success. And success looks different to all our learners. There isn't one path that fits all. And yet we have enabled all those paths to exist for all those kids. So it was a phenomenal presentation that John and I were very fortunate to witness, and I look forward to having them come share that with the rest of the board and the community.
Yeah, and I would add one more thing, and that is too often we see presentations that are being driven by one or two people and don't have buy-in. It was very clear from these presentations that there's complete buy-in from faculty and staff, and that's really inspiring.
Well, thank you again, and thank you. One more from you, John. True North Education Cooperative Liaison Report.
The superintendent's memo covers most of what the True North meeting was about. We'll have another meeting next week. True North is continuing to struggle with loss of member districts, member districts changing their way of using True North, and the subsequent shuffle True North is having to go through with both financing and personnel to both meet the new demands and to respond to the change in personnel needs. So they are struggling a little bit. There are some budgetary issues. They are tabling phase 2 of their build-out, which was scheduled to start in a year. They'll revisit that. So it is, and I'm sure you're aware of it, Matt, but there is some concern. But I think that with a good leadership council and with the continued efforts on the part of the superintendent, that they'll get over this and that it will come out the other side, I think better as an organization, because it's making them reshuffle and look and do some forward looking that before wasn't needed to be done because everything was pretty static.
Thank you, John. On to the action items. First one, approval of the 2025-2026 school year calendar. May I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Dr. Benson,
Aye.
Mr. Noble,
Aye.
Mr. Weinbrenner,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the intergovernmental and placement agreement with Evanston Skokie School District 65, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Dr. Benson,
Aye.
Mr. Weinbrenner,
Aye.
Ms. Zinser,
Aye.
Ms. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Noble,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the Illinois Department of Transportation easement?
So moved.
Second.
Do we need to share anything about that? It's just the little sliver out in front of West Campus here that we're basically transferring over to Illinois. It's an agreed transfer of that. I don't know if we're being told we have to agree or.
Both items 3 and 4 are dealing with the widening of Waukegan at Wesley, which one of them, what'd you say?
One of them is due to the widening, the other one is related to the sidewalks.
I apologize.
Accessibility.
Same project, though. Well,
Projects that happen to be at the same intersection. So it was really confusing for us too, because actually they have two companies that are working with this, but if we separate the two, they could be independent. They just happen to be kind of going on around the same time frame. So one, we're looking for a donation of land, and that has to do with the widening. So we actually get turning lanes to improve the safety and security at this intersection. So for anyone that's been on the west side of town here, you know that it happens frequently for people that are trying to turn either into our driveway or turn the other way because of the lack of turning lanes. So we are donating just a sliver of land basically between our two driveways. The city is also donating a sliver of land to make this happen. Thank you to the city, I think, for thinking about the safety and security they put in for grant funds, which they did receive a portion thereof to help with this project, and that plus the donations will help this project go through. The second, and I'll just do them both at the same time, the second one has to do with the sidewalk specifically at that particular intersection by our driveway. So they're not quite what you would want for accessibility as far as being able to take a wheelchair off of them without bumps, they're not smooth, they're not within current compliance. So that is a completely separate project that's being completely advocated for and put through by the Illinois Department of Transportation. Here is the strange thing. They may not and likely will not occur at the same time. Right now, it appears that the sidewalks would be done first, of which they would be torn up to do the widening. We have pointed this out. They're not real appreciative of input, but we have told them that we think that's kind of ridiculous. But they said that they would try to work between. The city agrees with us. That seems kind of silly. But right now, that is currently how it's scheduled to line up with the work. And I think I had the timelines in there. They're looking at around 26.
All right, thank you. May I have a roll call vote for motion item number 3, please?
Ms. Zinser,
Aye.
Mr. Noble,
Aye.
Ms. Davis,
Aye.
Dr. Venson,
Aye.
Mr. Weinbrenner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
If I can ask a quick question, if we denied one of the motions, would that force their hand into what would happen?
Well, that would be the easement, because that's the one that has to do with the sidewalks. I'm guessing you wouldn't want to deny the other one because of the grant funds that are associated with it. I also think it's the more important, well, not more important, they're both very important. I think we'll still try to work with them to get it at the same timing. Both of them have been on the docket for quite some time, so I have a feeling that if there's going to be a fly in the ointment, so to speak, it might just get kicked us in the bottom of some list.
So there'd be time for us if we approve both, not revisiting it, that we go back and make a stronger.
You have years.
Yeah, okay, good. Beautiful. All right, thank you.
I also feel like they would just exercise eminent domain. Either we give it to them or they're just going to take it.
Number 4, please. May I have a motion to approve the land donation?
So moved.
Sorry, referendum enabling project 24. I think this is the full label of that. Sorry. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Weinbrenner,
Aye.
Dr. Venson,
Aye.
Ms. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Noble,
Aye.
Ms. Zinser.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the West Campus security upgrades in the amount not to exceed $545,000?
So moved.
Second?
We want any clarity, if we would mind, George. I know we've talked about it a couple times over the last months, and some of them actually in executive because they dealt with security, but what you can share, would you mind?
Certainly. So this has been a pretty high priority on our list, and this is also of note a referendum project. So like many tech and security projects, this is a referendum project that we're spending out of the referendum monies that will be completed pending board approval this summer. So it's not part of the larger packages that we've bid out. This is being managed internally. So this is to bring West Campus up to the standards that we're setting at East Campus, the high school, and the standards that we currently have within District 67. So that concerns video surveillance, that concerns access control, that concerns intercom, and that concerns public address. Given the size of this campus, there's been some unique challenges we've had to deal with. So we've spent quite a long time working with a lot of different groups, taking a lot of tours of the campus to get this right. And we feel like this will be a very good addition to the safety and security on this campus. And that includes the areas over here, that includes the athletics field, that includes Varsity Stadium, and that includes going out and building infrastructure out even near the soccer fields over in the corner. So this will bring everything to the current standards we have set up in our other buildings.
Thank you, and thank you for the team. The work is, I know it's been a while, and it's patching it to make sure you had access and security going on even today, but to bring this up to snuff is great, so thank you for the work.
And to clarify one other piece, the original estimate for this project when we were building out the referendum was around $550,000. Came in a little lower at 535-ish. I'm seeking authority up to $545,000 just in case we hit some unforeseen blocks. We don't have to come back to you for additional authority.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jordan. May I have a motion for, or actually we did that, right? Yep, it's all right. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Weinbrenner,
Aye.
Dr. Venson,
Aye.
Mr. Noble,
Aye.
Ms. Zinser,
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 6, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the IASB draft resolution for Faith's Law Amendment?
So moved.
Second.
This is something we have covered a couple times, and thank you, Phil, for taking the lead on this and really getting it done. And so we'll hopefully share this with IASB as well as Ed Red, and we'll see what we can do to nudge this thing in. So I appreciate the time and effort for that. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Noble,
Aye.
Ms. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Zinser,
Aye.
Mr. Weinbrenner,
Aye.
Dr. Venson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. To the consent agenda, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items including 1 through 11, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Noble,
Aye.
Mr. Weinbrenner,
Aye.
Dr. Venson,
Aye.
Ms. Zinser.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. FOIA requests, Philippe Malin, 2 of 2 completed. Frank McCormick, 6 of 7 completed. Diana Lawton, 1 of 1 completed. Dan O'Neill, 1 of 2 completed. At this point, I would offer public participation for our last time. Any comments from the public if they would like to at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will move. All right. Announcements. Tuesday, May 21st, Education Committee meeting, 7:30 a.m. East Campus. Tuesday, May 21st, Joint Policy Committee, 5:15 p.m. at West Campus, Seminar B. Monday, May 27th, Memorial Day will be no school for students and staff. Tuesday, June 4th will be our next Board of Education meeting here. Please note the change. And then Saturday, June 8th, will be Lake Forest High School's graduation for 2024. May I have a motion to adjourn the Lake Forest Community High School District 115 Board meeting for May 7th, 2024, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a voice vote, please? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.